if Crocs has a registration on that particular product, right? So on the design. Now that is why I will just use the board to actually highlight to you one particular product which I think most of you will be able to identify. Okay, so how did you tell me that that is Crocs and this is Lego? On what basis? Design, right? So you've seen it. There is some memory of it. But within that design, what is it that you saw? Logo, but the first one didn't have any logo. Shape. Okay, very good. And
the holes in the Crocs that makes us to understand.
Correct. Material. Okay. So, excuse me for my bad drawing, but just okay, actually I will not mention this. Okay, can you just tell me what is this? There's a very famous cold drink company which has this kind of a bottle. 7 Up, Fanta, Mirinda. Mountain Dew, okay. So how many Mirinda? Okay. Fanta. So you told me all the names. This, as I said, excuse me for my bad drawing, but Fanta is the right answer. Okay. So Fanta has a very distinct bottle. If I give you a Mirinda bottle and a Fanta bottle, you will actually be able to differentiate, even if I took out everything, right? Because there will be a, for example, the shape, the orange cap on it. Mountain Dew, how do you know? Green bottle, and it's not the green like Sprite. It is a bit fluorescent green, right? So when you look at designs, what you look at is how it looks visually. So designs only require that much. It has to be visually distinct. So for an industrial design, the look and feel of a product is important. How it looks aesthetically, and the requirement is that it should be new, it should be original. Unlike patents where it has to be new, useful and not obvious. The term is for a term of 10 years, which you can extend for a further period of 5 years. Now, we will take a look at the statistics of how designs are filed. But as business entrepreneurs and as people who are speaking to people who could be potential entrepreneurs and businesses, it becomes important to identify where is the potential. Right now, as we see it, there is a high potential when it comes to designs, because it's not now. In fact, you take a student from architecture, and when they are designing something, it is going to be new. Okay. Likewise, you will have students, I'm sure you have competitions, things like say belts from waste, and there'll be some innovative competitions which happen where students come up with really brilliant designs into certain things. So from the technology point of view, it might not be as required by patents, but definitely for designs, you will be able to capitalize and commercialize on the market. A lot of products in the market, you actually look out, and that's how you want it, right? For example, that head massager that you must have seen, the piggy banks, there are so many different kinds of piggy banks. Okay, in fact, last year we protected a design for a cow bank, where it was shaped like a cow. So, and then have you been to IKEA, for example? IKEA also has a lot of furniture which have design protection. Their lights, for example, their furniture. So things like these are less explored but have immense potential, because first, it is easy to register, and second, it is easy to market. Now, the features in an industrial design that we look at are shape, number one. Configuration. Configuration basically means how it is arranged in a particular manner. There might be two bottles which have the same shape, but where is the cap? For example, if I place my cap at the bottom of the bottle, it gives a different shape. You have these squeezies that you must have seen for ketchup, right? A lot of them have it at the bottom. Then some of them have on the top. So depending on where it is placed, the configuration comes into the picture. Patterns, ornamentations, composition of lines or colors. So you can protect a bed sheet. Sabyasachi protects all of its designer clothing under designs. Okay, and they're one of probably the most, they are among the maximum filers when it comes to designs for clothing. What biscuit? Which is the real one? The right one or the left one? Right one. How did you know? Exactly. You mentioned it is the design. So design is just about how you're able to visually identify two products. Now, very, very common and probably something that everybody has heard of, trademarks. What is a trademark? Logo. Design of? No. Okay, design of the packaging. Shape. Okay, so a trademark, I agree with most of the answers because you have trademarks divided into many types. There are conventional trademarks, there are taglines, right? So a trademark is basically something that is used to distinguish two businesses or products and services. So you use a trademark to identify one business from the other, right? Now, it is a representation of that particular business. The term for a trademark is unlimited, which means you can have a trademark for 200 years, 300 years, 400 years, doesn't matter. You have to just renew it every 10 years. Okay? For example, can somebody tell me which is the oldest trademark? A very famous company. Godrej is fairly new. It is 20th century. Say I give you the freedom to choose an Indian or international. Rolls-Royce, okay.
Austrian glass manufacturing company, I'm not getting the name.
Okay.
The door or window they used to.
Saint-Gobain?
Yes.
Harley? Parle-G. Okay. Parle. Okay. Are we so old that we think Parle? Okay.
Even Tata Group.
Tata. Okay. So there was a company which actually started off as a pharmaceutical company. What they used to do was they had one particular drug which they used to give to people whom they wanted to free from pain. No. And it is a drug today. Like an actual drug. A drug for dulling the pain. It dulls the senses also. Sorry? No. No. It starts with C, ends with Ain. No. Coffee. Yes, I agree.
Coffee is caffeine.
Have you heard of cocaine? So, do you know the company which used to sell cocaine? And then it became one of the largest beverage manufacturers. Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola was one of the earliest when it came to securing the trademark registration. There were many companies, as you rightly said, Saint Gobain is also one of them, in fact, because glass manufacturing in Venice was a very popular hobby. And in fact, patents also came up from Venice itself back in around 1650s. So Coca-Cola has been using their trademark for a very long time, probably around 300 years and more. And there are many companies like that. Mahindra, for example, was established in 1907 or 19 something like that. MDH completed 115 or 25, I think, soon enough. So a lot of companies have used trademarks for maximizing their business value. And it is true, once a business is set up, your trademark has a lot of value. Today, if you want to buy Coca-Cola as a trademark, can you imagine the amount that you'll have to pay? In fact, one very famous person right now who launches spaceships, individual, Elon Musk. You know, his company, what's his company? SpaceX. What is the? Tesla. So he actually purchased Tesla as a trademark from a small mechanical company, right? So he purchased that. At that point of time, he purchased it for maybe for some, say, 5,000, 10,000, whatever dollars. Today, if you want to evaluate Tesla's, trademark, it is in billions. So trademarks have a lot of potential when it comes to, it is high volume, of course. You have a lot of trademarks, which so many companies, so many trademarks. But once a company becomes popular and well known, you have to obviously look at how much of business value a trademark can generate. And as I said, it is perpetual. Requirements for a trademark is it should be distinctive and it should not be deceptive. When I say distinctive, you should be able to distinguish. Deceptive is this. So which is the real trademark? Sure? Okay. And what about the Adidas mark? So this is, has anyone ever been to shopping in Kia market? No? But maybe you've just somewhere seen it in the market and stuff, right? So 15, 16 years back, I also went to market and I was like, there are real good bags, But the only problem was the bag said Adibas. And it was very cheap also. So I thought, see, I had heard that there are sometimes reject products which actually, go into the market and they are priced very low. So I was very genuinely about to purchase that. But then it was, for some reason I did not do that. But that day, Adidas and Adibas had me confused. So it's very common to come across instances where trademarks are infringed. Very, very common. So the first one is Starbucks. The other one is Sardar Baksh. Okay? Kentucky Fried Chicken, Obama Fried Chicken. So we actually, as attorneys, we come across so many of these instances where somebody, to be honest, I'll tell you an instance. It was actually after my 12th and I finished my CET and everything, so I had to enroll into an engineering college. Now the college that I got into was Oxford. So I went to my teachers in, back in school, and I told them that it's Oxford. Everybody was very impressed. Now everybody said, oh, one of our students is going to Oxford. The problem was, I forgot to add Oxford, Bominahalli. Okay.
Not even Oxford.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So. And you come across this very often, right? There's a Cambridge school, and there'll be there are so many names that we look at. So
made in USA.
Yeah. Exactly. So many such instances come up where trademarks hold a lot of potential, and they're very easy to confuse, right? So if you just said, "Oh, I'm going to OFC," everybody will think, "Okay, you're probably going to KFC." and you mispronounced it, misspelled it, whatever. So trademarks are one of the most, I would say, valuable forms of IPs because of how many people are able to copy it, and because you're able to get revenue out of it. So when it comes to any form of IP, there are different ways, I told you, of making revenue. First one is obviously to use and make those products, sell them. What many companies look for is for somebody to infringe, because that gives me opportunity to make revenue from there also. From anybody who is copying my product has to now pay me some kind of a fine. So trademarks form the largest chunk of litigations in India. Okay, now we have a few examples. The first one, Netflix. How did you know? Sound, because of its distinct sound. MGM. Sorry? Warner Brothers. Okay. Tom and Jerry. Yeah, Tom and Jerry is from the production house of somewhere, right? Sorry? Lion. Okay. Now what is this? So which company? This is MGM, and before this was 20th Century Fox. And the last one. So how did we know all of this? Distinct sounds. So when I said trademarks, there are different types of trademarks, right? There are something called conventional. Now when we speak about conventional, two types, word and logo. Okay, the name of a company, for example, is the word mark. The logo of that particular company is its trademark as well. For example, Apple. What is the word mark in that case? The name Apple. But what is the logo? It is that bitten apple, right? So it is important. That is a conventional trademark. Now, non-conventional trademarks include things like sound trademark, shape trademark. Have you had Toblerone chocolates? They have a protection on the shape of the chocolate. Okay. Then we have sound trademarks. Then we have smell trademarks. Some fragrances are protected. Now, how do we protect all of this? It should be in a manner where you are able to actually say that you can represent it in some kind of a graph. For example, when you have a smell trademark, notes you'll have to give. Sounds you'll have to give the sound notations. So trademarks, as I said, many different kinds, lot of value from each one. Copyrights is another very important form of IP, which is very unique because it comes into existence by the virtue of the fact that it exists. You don't have to seek a separate copyright protection. I have not registered my slide with the Copyright Office, but the fact that it is here and it is created is copyrighted. Right? For now, the recording that we're making here will be copyrighted by the virtue of the fact that it is created, and it does not have to be registered. When you register it, you will get one, legal protection, two, the opportunity to seek legal remedy, which means if anybody else is copying this or reproducing the same content, then you can file for an infringement and get that money in terms of damages. So the first, and this is a very core principle to copyrights, which is idea-expression dichotomy, which means it is not enough if you have an idea. You should express this idea in some tangible form. I have an idea for a movie script. That idea alone is not protectable. I write it down and create a script. I can protect that script. I make a movie out of that particular idea. That movie gets a copyright protection, right? So it is that you have to have an idea and you have to express it in some form. It might be on a CD, it might be on a paper, it might be in the USB, wherever. It has to be in a tangible form. Now, what is required for a copyright? It is originality and some amount of creativity. What all is protected under copyrights is literary works, for example, books, novels, notes. Is your research paper and dissertation protected under copyright? Yes? How many of you say yes or believe yes?
But it has to be cited for the citation.
Right?
If it is a new idea, it can be under.
New idea, but new idea of course, but the fact that you have a dissertation, a thesis, any kind of research that you've presented in a tangible form becomes the copyright of the author, which is you, right? So you can always, as I said, you don't have to go and register it with the Copyright Office. You can always mention copyright of so-and-so person. And then, other than that, of course, you have dramatic works, artistic works, musical, cinematographic works, photographic works, sounds, and recording. The term of a copyright is lifetime plus 60 years. Lifetime meaning, as long as I live, I will have the right over my particular work, and after my death, I will get another 60 years of protection on that. Have you heard of the book called The Diary of Anne Frank? It's about a girl who was during the Nazi Germany, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So the Diary of Anne Frank became, it basically was allowed to the public as I think late as in 2018. So until Anne Frank's life plus another 60 years. So the rights which you get under a copyright is right of reproduction or right against reproduction, which is nobody else can reproduce whatever you have created. Adaptation, the right to adapt a particular work. We will look at a few examples of what adaptation is. Then right to distribute. So once you've created a work, you will have the right to distribute this work to anybody you want. You can give it to your friend, you can sell it. Many people put up courses on Udemy, for example, right? And then right to public performance, public display, and communication to the public. Two movies. Okay, so who copied who? Obviously Matrix copied us, right? No? You don't think so? Seriously?
It came before this movie. They have a series.
Exactly. So I mean, this next slide will also give you a picture. Let's play this also. There's a very famous recent song. You know what movie? Okay. So my question, who copied whom?
Shiva is an old song.
Okay.
Which means tune has been copied.
Exactly. So copyrights, when we spoke about different rights, okay? Now, Bollywood, for some reason, believes that it has the right to adapt and take anything from anywhere. Okay? So, and it is allowed also, because when we look at copyrights, we look at how it is overall. Right? Now, the movies that we saw, for example, Matrix, had a different theme to it. Yes, a particular scene was copied from there. But when we are protecting that work, we are not just protecting a particular scene. We are protecting the entire movie. Right? So, Matrix has a protection on that storyline. The movie which was Avara Pagal Divana copied a scene, but its storyline was different. So when it comes to copyrights, you can always adapt something, you can always take elements, but not so much that whatever you have taken becomes a substantial part of your work. When that happens, it means there is copyright infringement. Now, in fact, even in the songs that we spoke about, the first tune that is from Makiba was taken and added to the movie in the song from Pathan. So the first bits of it were definitely something which were inspired. They were not copied. Okay, so yeah. When it comes to copyrights, what you look at is the amount of work that has been copied. Okay, so this is one very famous and fun movie.
Time up. Sir, 5 minutes. मालूम नहीं है. Is an emergency, please. Examiner ने हमें ऐसे देखा, जैसे हमने उसकी दोनों किडनीज मांगी. हम दिल में लिखते रहे. और वो पेपर्स को रोल नंबर से अरेंज कर दिए. जैसे हो गया. आप लेट हो गए. मैं नहीं ले सकते. Sorry, sir. सर, आप जानते हैं हम कौन हैं? प्राइम मिनिस्टर का बेटे हो तो भी, I will not accept your paper. सर, आपको हमारा नाम और रोल नंबर पता है? नहीं? कौन है तुम लोग? तुम्हारा रोल नंबर क्या है? किधर है? किधर हो पेपर?
So a very famous scene, a very fun scene also. There was a Hollywood movie which actually copied this from us.
One minute, please. Time, thank you. Could you all please put down your pens and bring your papers to the front? Thank you. Well done. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, you're too late. Gave you plenty of warnings about time. You failed. Sorry.
Excuse me, do you know who I am?
I had absolutely no idea.
Good.
I hope nobody has had a similar experience here in the, no? Good, okay. So, what do you think? Inspired by who? Who inspired whom? The second one? Yeah, the second one was actually an advertisement, and the same was actually taken in the movie Three Idiots. So this is just to give you an understanding that when it comes to copyrights, as we spoke about earlier, Three Idiots, the entire movie, as you know, all know, was very different, right, from this one particular scene. But the fact that this particular scene was added gives it that entire whole new dimension. So copyrights is very gray when it comes to what you can protect, how you can protect, how much is there, but it was also very well explored in terms of its legally speaking. Okay, so now trade secrets, not an IP that has a specific legislation for protection, but it is something which is acknowledged and accepted by the courts in India. So like for example, for patents you have patent law, for trademarks you have trademark law, for designs you have a design law, design act, for copyright you have copyright act. For trade secrets there is no separate act. So trade secrets are usually governed by the contracts. Usually in every contract with a business, with an industry, whatever, there will be a clause saying that it is confidential information. And if you disclose this confidential information, you are liable for damages or infringement or whatever. So trade secrets can be any information. It is again for a perpetual term until somebody reverse engineers that particular. Are you aware of a recent instance where one of UK's fighter jets was parked here in India? It's a very recent instance. So UK's fighter jet is parked here in India, and they're not allowing, number one, to cover that jet. It is out in the open, and Indians offered that we'll move it to the hangar. They said no. Why do you think that is? The answer is secrets. Because Indians and Chinese both are very good with reverse engineering a particular product. So what the UK does not want is for us to reverse engineer that by any chance. So they want it to be in the open under the eyes of the satellite, so they're able to see and monitor what is happening with that particular jet. So trade secrets are for a perpetual term until somebody reverse engineers. The requirements for a trade secret: firstly, it should have an economic value, it should not be known to the public, and there should have been reasonable measures taken to protect that particular trade secret. For example, the one and only, the most famous, as we spoke about in all of our IPs so far, Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola also had an instance where one of the employees from Coca-Cola said, they actually said, I will disclose the ingredient to Pepsi for a particular sum. Pepsi could have done that, like they could have taken that ingredient, incorporated it, but Pepsi actually informed Coca-Cola about this person who was doing this, and then this person was terminated from their work. So Coca-Cola's recipe is a very closely guarded secret. So a lot of, as we spoke about, for example, attas, masalas that we speak, a lot of them are actually closely protected by families and their trade. It's a trade secret within their families and companies, generations, so on. Another example can be, for example, coffee. Okay, so how coffee? Recipe. Exactly. A lot of companies, for a lot of cafes, for example, when you go, you have different kinds of coffees, different kind of drinks, different beverages. How are they all made? Now, you might know that this has X syrup, Y syrup, Z syrup. How much of quantity? That is a secret which every company has on its own. Now, you cannot go for patent, because in patent you will have to disclose everything. Okay, so a lot of the food manufacturers, beverage manufacturers, cafes, they protect their IPs through trade secrets. And in the morning we were just having a conversation in the room and we mentioned about geotags. So geographical indications or GI tags. So geographical indications are a form of IP which are used to protect or identify the source and origin of a particular good. The term is again 10 years, renewable, perpetually. So let's take a few examples. Can you tell me what the first one is? Second one? Very good. Third? The fourth? Correct. Yes. This is from Kerala. Sorry? Somebody said something? It is a mirror, correct. Exactly, yes. So can you tell us something about it, sir? How is it made, or what is the uniqueness about this? Correct. So the metal is polished in such a way that it actually reflects like a mirror. So that is a speciality of this particular product. Now, because of the fact that, as you all mentioned, you could have said it is Peda, you could have said it is Chappal, but you are associating a name of a particular place with this product. So geographical indications necessarily denote the geographical origin of a particular product. Right? So, and we were discussing, in fact, today morning's newspaper, I was just reading that Karnataka has become one of the highest exporters of jamun. Okay? No, not gulab jamun, the jamun, the fruit. Okay? Yeah, exactly. So we have an immense amount of geographical indications within India. So much so that we have not even explored probably 30% of it or less, right? In fact, the government of India and a lot of universities across had taken up an initiative in 2015 to file as many geographical indications as possible by identifying them. Now, a geographical indication is a community right, which means a particular community will have that right over it, and it is not an individual right. So because you are manufacturing Dharwad Peda in, say, Bangalore, you cannot say that it is GI tagged. So it has to have, firstly, you should be a member of that community which is manufacturing this, or you should be in that particular geography where you are manufacturing the particular product. It does not apply to services, it is only to products. Now, we spoke about this, we are coming to the end of the presentation as well. So we spoke about this when we started. When you have a property, what is it that you do, right? If it is a property where you are not living, then you obviously want to get revenue out of that property. So how do you get this revenue? As we spoke, it can be through rent, it can be through lease, it can be through, many different opportunities. You can sell it. So IPR also effectively works in the same way, where you are able to commercialize on the IP. The end goal of any intellectual property protection has to be commercialization, to get the value out of it. Just by the fact that you have filed something and sought protection doesn't mean that it will give you value. You have to put it into the market. Now, a lot of people go into the market without protecting IP. That does not help their business. So it is important to balance that you have your IP, which is protected, and then you enter the market so that you are able to capitalize on that IP. In fact, today, a lot of investors, have you all seen Shark Tank? Both India and US. You must have come across the investors also asking, do you have any IPs? Do you have any patents which you have filed for a particular technology? Right? And their valuation is decided based on what is their IP. So if as a company, tomorrow I say I start off a cafe tomorrow and I have a very unique name to the cafe. Tomorrow when I want to sell that business, I can sell the trademark separately, I can sell my recipes separately, I can sell the idea of how my cafe is looking separately, I can sell any kind of technology that I'm using in the cafe separately. So different, and as we spoke about earlier, I can give it as a bundle also, or I can give it individually as well. So with IP you can choose what to give, what not to give. Tomorrow, if there is a person who comes to me saying, I want to take a franchisee of your business. So I have the decision on what are the things that I need to give out to you. I can choose to give you only the trademark, but nothing else. You prepare your own beverages, you prepare your own ideas, you prepare your own architecture, whatever. I will give you only the right on my trademark. So the value is increasingly becoming dependent on how much of or what is the strength of your IP that you have in a particular business. So firstly, the role of IPR itself is to encourage R&D investments. When you have a product which you can protect, more investors are willing and they know that there is a safety here in, say, going ahead and investing into your business. It attracts funding, it provides market exclusivity, which every business asks for. Every Shark Tank investor asks, how am I going to make money out of this? So I want some kind of an exclusivity, which the IPR gives me. The last one is, of course, it promotes collaborative development. So where two or more companies can come together and say that we will work on it together. The most important example, for example, as we spoke about, is all your mobile phone manufacturers. There is something called as a patent pool, where different companies put their patents and they say, you can choose which technology you want. Now, for example, if I have a phone, I can choose a Qualcomm processor or an Intel processor. So now, but I am, say, Samsung. Now I have my choice. I can either go for Qualcomm, I can go for Intel. Now it is a collaborative. What am I getting in return? I'm paying some amount of money to Intel or to Qualcomm for using their processor. And in exchange, I'm also making money out of it, right? So Qualcomm is making money out of me. I'm making money out of the final product that I'm selling to the market. So it promotes collaborative development. See, there have been many instances where two companies, one who had a very well-known trademark, came together with somebody who had a very good business model. And there are many instances where companies, very well-known companies, have split. Reliance, for example, right? So there is now Reliance has there is one Reliance which has everything. There is another Reliance which does not have a lot. So again, there also we come across, how all of these businesses are adding individual value to a person. Adigas, Vasudeva Adigas. So that was also a similar instance, right? A2B. So many businesses which have actually split, and many instances where businesses have come together. For example, L&T. Can anyone tell me who they merged with recently? They had a very different name, and they started putting ads. Or forget that. Let's come to a very simple thing. It had become very annoying at one point of time. Two telecom companies, Idea and Vodafone. Perfect. So yeah, they became V. So yes, it basically promotes collaborative development. Now lastly, I don't know if I'll be able to access this link. Can we access this link by any way? On the phone? I just need to click on that. On Chrome, yeah. So recently, the Indian Patent Office came up with a mechanism for identifying. This is actually very good, because before this, what we used to do was we used to manually sit and sort the data, find out who is filing what. In fact, today morning, we were having a discussion and we were just discussing about who's filing how much. So this is, as you can see, this is the website handled by the Indian Intellectual Property Office under the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. So you have patents, designs, trademarks, copyrights, and GI. Now this dashboard gives you a picture of how many applications have been filed and from where these applications are coming, what is the growth curve for each of those applications. Now, as you can see, in 2010, we were filing somewhere only around 20,000 to 30,000 applications. And that has increased here to almost about, your grants have increased, filings have increased. So filing is close to around 1 lakh. Grants are about 64,000. Now I can come here and check on one particular year of filing. So say 2025. I want to know how many applications have been filed. So far in this year until June, we've filed about 59,000 in total, which includes 54 online and 4.6 thousand offline. Now this also shows you the density of where these applications are coming from. So for example, Maharashtra, you have this year we have filings of around 4,000. From Karnataka this year we have around 4,847. Because technology cluster is located in Bangalore, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata also, but Kolkata is actually very less in number. Now, as we saw here, as you know, we are filing about 1 lakh applications, and it is increasing. What about designs? Now, this is overall, okay. You can still see that the number is still very low in comparison to what we're filing for designs. But this is increasing because a lot of companies are now realizing that there is something called designs. So most fundamentally, the problem is that businesses don't know what IP they need to file. A lot of the times we speak about, for example, Skippy ice creams that you know. You must have heard again on Shark Tank and many such. There are many such products there which come up on Shark Tank, which are not patentable, but they can be registered under designs, but still don't get registered because many a times they don't know about it. Now this is the trend. I think last year we had probably the highest, which was around 34,000 applications which were filed. Yeah, 40,000 were filed and registered were around 34,000. So this also shows that almost 90% of every design which is filed gets registered. So it is an easier form of IP to protect. Next you have trademarks, which will be the most voluminous chunk of applications. So you have around 4 lakh applications which have been filed for trademarks, right? And this is for 2021 alone. So every year, more number of applications are being filed. Say 2025, already in half a year we have about 2,88,000. So trademarks are a very common, of course everybody knows about it also. Copyrights, you are again looking at say around, this is overall since 2010, we are looking at around 2,21,000 applications. So still, and most of it is from the media entertainment industry, literary works, so you will have those applications. Now as I said, it's not necessary for us to protect copyrights, right? So a lot of people choose to forego that protection. Now this is our geographical indications. Very interesting map. You can see where we in fact were discussing this earlier in the morning, saying that the amount of geographical indications coming from Karnataka are comparatively very low, although we do have a lot of geographical indications. And then the most concentrated you will find are in Tamil Nadu and Kerala. So a lot of GI protection focus is going there. Then you have the second is the Northeast cluster. So Northeast also is filing a lot of GIs. And then Maharashtra is also another area where you have a lot of GIs. And then of course in and around Delhi is spread out, but still not enough to cover all of the IPs that we have. I mean the potential geographical indications that we have. So yeah, from a business point of view, geographical indication might not make sense to a private entity, but if you are in a collective environment, for example, say you are into spirit manufacturing or you are into some kind of food manufacturing also, if you combine with a community which has the right over a geographical indication, it is collaborative and beneficial. So yeah, coming to the end of the presentation, I think this is what the dashboard is. The link is available on the presentation. You can always go and monitor it. I don't know till when it will work, unfortunately, but right now, at least it is operational. So yes, thank you so much for your attention, and it was extremely fun talking to all of you, and hopefully a lot of filings, a lot of actually businesses which are focused on IP and are using, if not IP protection, but focusing on getting revenue from IP, so that you can always tell students, businesses that this is where you can derive a lot of value from. So yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you for your attention.